All right, we are live. Thank you everyone for the patience. I know we're about 5 minutes late here. We were working so hard to get Janelle from Follow Up Boss on here. Something about our webinar software was just totally bugging out. So we're still working in the background to get Janelle in here. And if you came here specifically for Janelle, a lot of you on the Follow Up Boss side probably did. I'm sorry, I can't refund your free webinar registration. So we're just stuck, but hopefully
she was in Austin the last couple of days for the Follow Up Boss conference. I'll bet you she just stayed up too late and she didn't really want to be on here today.
Yeah. Just this is an excuse. Oh, sorry, my Zoom's not working, guys. I got to stay off camera. For some reason, my webcam doesn't work.
There's
just
also
kidding,
some crazy
Janelle.
weather.
Just
there's
kidding.
some crazy weather going on down your way, isn't there, Jeremy?
There is. Yeah, I mean, there's like tornado warnings.
We got some stuff working against us, but we're going to get started regardless. We got a lot of cool stuff to cover today. Great crew here with us. Couple like housekeeping rules. This is being recorded. If you registered, the recording will send to you immediately afterwards. And please send that out to team members. If you want someone on your team, or if you're listening, you're like, man, I wish this person from my team was hearing what they're saying. Forward it over. That's what the recording is for. Robin, good to hear from you in the chat. That was my next thing. Use the chat, drop questions there. We also got something fun that we're doing today, which is, I'm going to show this. This is the infamous Wheel of Sisu webinars. The infamous. You've probably heard about this thing. But we are going to be spinning for some prizes here. And the way that we're going to spin at least 2 times, and we're just going to be picking on people who are participating there in the chat. So I'm actually going to pick one right now.
Oh man, already.
Man, who do I want to
excited.
Pick? There's actually a lot of people in the chat, so like we pick someone. Do you know this Davis Ray guy, Justin? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely don't pick him. Yeah, he works for our agency. Okay. We're the worst for sure.
All right. I feel like I have so much power right now to pick. Let's go with who was first. Robin, you were very first to comment before I even asked. We're going to have you spin the wheel here. So let's see what you land on. My team will be in contact afterwards. We'll get you your prize. And you got... I know it's what you've always dreamed of. It's on the way. Let's get this thing going.
Did anybody else's head like go Wheel of Fortune whenever that thing was going? Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my ADD brain. Yeah.
Robin, we'll have you on at the end of the webinar. We're going to actually have a little speech about how you feel now that you won the new Sisu music or Sisu phone standing charger. But yeah, let's get this thing going. So we're talking today about Follow Up Boss and Sisu as an integrated system. We've got a superstar here, Jeremy. I'm going to brag on you a little bit. I was looking at Facebook the other day, and I was looking at some of our Sisu leaderboards, and I saw a number that I hadn't seen before, which is 200 pending transactions at one moment. You made a post about it, but you guys are just absolutely dominating. And wanted to celebrate you for that. That's a huge accomplishment. And also maybe, you've been on Follow Up Boss for a while. You've been on Sisu for a while. So maybe talk to like your journey. Give us a little overview of your company, why you use the 2 systems, and maybe because a lot of people on the call are probably, where you were 5, 6, 7 years ago, right? Maybe I've got a team of 2, 3, 4 people. Like, what would you say to that person, right? So I'd love to just hear a little bit of that from you.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, the 200 pending, what you didn't see was me hitting refresh every few seconds, waiting for that 200th one to pop. And it's the only time I've ever hoped that something didn't close out. And like, I was hoping they didn't close any deals because, it kept going down, then it'd go up. So we were excited. And now it's at like 190. So I haven't seen 200 since that day. So thankfully I got that snapshot when I did. But yeah, the team's just doing an incredible job. A lot of that is, obviously we have some amazing leaders, but then the systems and the tech that we have with the Follow Up Boss and Sisu combined there is is unmatched in my opinion. I think we lucked into the best of both worlds. So kind of going back to our story, 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, we were one team in Charleston, South Carolina with about 25 agents. And we had some opportunity with some of our lead source partners and our brokerage to expand into different areas, and they made it really easy and really inexpensive for us. And we went into these other locations and cities around us and started with 10, 12 agents in each one of those offices. And now we're in 5 different locations throughout South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. And at that time, 3 years ago when we started that, we had Follow Up Boss, and we had another system for analytics, but it wasn't anywhere near the capabilities that Sisu had. And so, what we found was agents in different teams asking us, like, what's going on? Like, I'm not making any money. I'm not converting any deals. And like, this sounds terrible as a leader of a company, but I'd be like, well, just work harder, take more leads and try a little bit harder, convert a little bit more, because I didn't have any of the analytics, and I didn't have time to go through Follow Up Boss and drill down and figure out how many leads they took in a certain time frame and how many appointments they went on. So I guess looking back, the one thing I wish we would have done is started with the Sisu integration very early on when we first started to expand, and we didn't. So we had to work that into the mix after we had already started to expand. And honestly, I can't even imagine going back to not having the analytics and stuff that Sisu provides us, because now not only am I looking at it all the time, but our agents are looking at it all the time. The CEOs of our teams are looking at it all the time. And there's really no work on our end. Like, everything we do in Follow Up Boss happens automatically in Sisu. So we're not doing anything to make Sisu happen, if that makes sense. It's all just happening. Nobody's reporting numbers. It's all just pulling all that information out of Follow Up Boss. So it's been amazing for us.
It's awesome. Well, it's been super fun to watch the growth too. I mean, and I think a lot of people will listen to you talk and they're like, oh man, 200 pending, like I don't know how many agents you're at now, but they think, oh, these systems are what you put in place when you get bigger, right? And the reality is they're what you put in place when you have one agent, and that's what allows you to scale, because fundamentals are fundamentals, right? And if you execute on the fundamentals at scale, you win exponentially more, right? So that's what, biggest thing. I wanted to have Jeremy on here, but also, like, the same fundamentals powering Jeremy's business are the same fundamentals powering a one use or a one agent operation, right? It's the fundamentals are there. So
yeah, and that would be the biggest advice I have. If I could turn the clock back, I wish we would have had all the, at the very beginning when we had 10 or 15 agents, just thought about, all right, what would it look like to have 100 agents? That's the foundation I need to build right now. Like, how hard it is to change something at this point when we're at 105 agents versus how easy it was.
Easy. I was just talking to Davis the other day. No.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's not easy. And believe it or not, agents don't like to change the way they do things. So it's not easy.
I know it's hard to train agents on a new way of doing things. No way.
Yeah, you sometimes you have to say it more than once.
Davis, our systems architect from the Bara agency side that helps Jeremy and his team out, just has the little sweat emoji there in the chat. Just like
poor Davis.
Justin, want to introduce you. Justin is a friend of Sisu, friend of Follow Up Boss. You work with everybody, I think. like you seem to have your hands in everything, and extremely knowledgeable in the industry, extremely knowledgeable on tech. Maybe give us a little overview of Bara agency, and then from your perspective, because you have this unique perspective, like, what is it about the two systems that's powerful? We want to hear that from you, and then we're going to jump right into a demo of the integration.
Yeah, definitely. And Andrea, I love your comment there that we're just making light of it, because it's hard to steer an organization of people that are on the team and making those changes. It's hard when you're at scale. So more so just joking with Jeremy about how hard that could be. So Bara agency, the fancy term for it is that we're a fractional CTO agency. So a lot of the big teams that you hear about on stages and stuff, and incredible people like Jeremy, we get to be their chief technology officer in their business. And the simpler way to put it is that we're kind of the best place to come to streamline all your technology and not have to do it yourself. So We have systems architects that stand as the CTO inside of our clients' organizations, which is why we're making fun of Davis, because he happens to be that person for Jeremy and his team from Bara agency over here. So yeah, we do everything from custom integrations to building custom software and internal tools and all kinds of things to kind of make our clients' operations work the way that they always dreamed that it would work, and make sure the technology is not a limiting factor and something you're frustrated by all the time, but make sure that it's something that actually expedites the growth and the dream that you have in your head for where your team can go. So on the Sisu side, man, like Jeremy's a good use case on this, but like obviously we have a lot of clients using Sisu. And my favorite thing about it is that complexity grows naturally as you grow any kind of business, right? It's just a natural consequence of growing a large organization, is that it does become complex in due time, right? So when you're building the building blocks, the foundational elements of your technology, you should do your best not to add in unnecessary complications in the very beginning, because it should be as minimalistic, the least amount of moving parts as humanly possible straight away. So that way, when the necessary complications get layered in, it's not adding unnecessary complication, if that makes sense, right? So when you talk about FUB and Sisu, man, like it kills so many birds with one stone, right? You need that FUB is incredible at being a CRM, and they will always be a CRM. That's what makes FUB so good, is that they're hyper focused on delivering world-class tools when it pertains to a CRM that's applicable to real estate agents and their teams and the brokerages, right? But you know, what is Follow Up Boss not? It's not a website company. It's not a transaction management company. It's not a hardcore analytics reporting goal tracking company. It's a CRM company. So enter Sisu into that stack. And now there you have all of your reporting analytics, goal setting for your agents, vendor reporting, even like how many deals did we send to that title company last year? You know, like what does all of that look like? A lot of the high level reporting dashboards that you need as a team leader to run your organization, linked to one system to be able to make sense of the data that already exists. Like Jeremy was saying, the data that already exists inside of Follow Up Boss, make sense of it in a way that helps you guide your company forward. And then let's go ahead and add transaction management into that, and a client portal to keep your team and your like clients kind of in the know and in the process as they're going on. You don't need much more than those two to like get going, right? And we have lots of our largest clients that are on the exact same tech stack. The Lawton team, they're massive client. They're running FUB and Sisu, and we're working on like a fun little test project. Me and George and Greg Schwartz from Tomo right now. And guess what we're using over there? FUB and Sisu. And I'm the one that picks all the technology. So I'm totally sold on that process. And even on the brokerage back end, man, the brokerage compliance for all of our broker owners, if anybody like that is here, you can run brokerage compliance and CDAs and all of that stuff right there inside of Sisu, which is just game changing to be able to do all of that in one platform. It's just tons of power.
Yeah, cool. We're definitely going to dive in and get into some of the specific use cases. But I did, you know, the reason we put this webinar together, there's a lot of reasons, but the main reason is Kyla, who runs our integrations and our partnerships team. Man, you guys have been just working away at this Follow Up Boss integration. I mean, how much have we updated this thing over the last few months? It's been pretty significant, right, Kyla?
Yeah, I think the first round we did was to just get something out there, right, that worked with deals and transactions and made it so that we could just help people start using the integration. But we really wanted to dive into what are those use cases that people were really hoping for, right? What are those last few pieces that would just make people say, wow, this is amazing. You're blowing my mind. And this is going to save me so much time, or save my agent so much time. And so that is what we focused on for this sort of last round of updates that we pushed out. And, those are things that Zach will show here in a few minutes. But, being able to link to a specific Sisu form from the FUB deal card is just incredible for teams, right? If you have a listing follow-up form that like, you're always managing it in Sisu. So whether you need to change the fields there or, lock something down, you can still just manage it in Sisu, but it's like right there for your agents in the FUB deal card. So that's new and exciting. And then the ability to pick those custom fields, and not just custom fields, but Sisu fields, right? Your Sisu form fields. Are there specific ones that are really important on that deal card? Because FUB has a lot of cool features like their calendar, which can show key dates that show up on your deal card. So I've been showing some people these, and Zach will touch on this here in a little bit, but they see, their earnest money due date, and they can see it on the calendar, and they can see what deal it applies to, and you can open it and see all the information right there. And so as we've been modifying this and demoing it, people are just like, oh my God, you're blowing my mind right now. So I think that this last round really just kind of took it to that next level for everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we're going to dive into it. Before we do, we're going to spin the wheel. Anna Lynn says, Kyla's amazing. She is so helpful. That earns a wheel spin right there.
Also, if you need like a Disney trivia person on your team to just really murder the Disney trivia night, Kyla's your gal.
Definitely got you covered there. All right, Anna Lynn, let's spin this thing, and then we're going to jump in and talk on the webinar. All right, you get DoorDash on the house, right?
Hey.
So we will be in contact right after this webinar. You let us know what your order is. And I did this for one of my sales team members the other day, and they had dinner delivered for him and his wife. It was great. So Anna Lynn, let us know. We'll be reaching out to you right after. DoorDash on the house. Let's dive into this. Let's dive in. Don't get too jealous, Justin. Go ahead, Kyla.
Yeah, as you're pulling that up, I saw Marcus had a question. It says, will this new 2.0 feature replace using an application like Interface? And I mean, I would say yes. Again, it's always good to just kind of watch through what Zach is going to demo. But, when we were looking through this, to me, what Interface has done has been great and super helpful for Sisu for a long time. But the way that they had the forms, like you still have to go in there and click, and it opens a new form, and they have to manage those fields. And there's still like this extra step and this extra layer. And what I really wanted to try to do, again, is reduce the complexity, right? We don't want multiple places or people or systems for you guys to have to go to. We want you to be able to manage this yourself with your main systems that you're already using. So yes, that was the design, right? Linking to the form in Sisu, you click it, you get right to the form, and those are the fields that you guys can manage and update at any point in time. So, is it going to be for everybody? Probably not, and that's okay. But, again, we build these integrations to meet the 80 to 90%, and then we rely on people like Bara to kind of help the 10 to 20% who have some more complex processes, or maybe work with another system that they really want things to work together. So
yeah, good point.
That answers your question.
Sure. Yeah, I wanted to just touch on before we dive in that you have a lot of options as far as Sisu integration goes. What we're going to be talking about today specifically, because Sisu has an open API, right? Just like Follow Up Boss, you can connect anything you want to Sisu. You can build your own integrations. You can work with somebody like Justin to build.
We've connected 3 to 4 external data sources to a single Sisu account, so you can do all kinds of cool stuff.
All kinds of stuff. So it's an open API, right? You have zero limitations on how you integrate. What we're talking about today is we have a native Follow Up Boss integration. It's two-way. It's webhook based, meaning it's lightning fast. It costs you nothing. So there is no cost, and it's included on all plans to use the Sisu and Follow Up Boss integration, right? This is new. We have different setup options. Our team will set it up for you. You don't have to lift a finger. You just send our team an API key and they set up the integration for you, right? And that's been really helpful, especially for people who want to get in and start using this. I'm going to show you how you could send an API key to our team. They could set up this integration, and you could have Sisu running from appointment to closed in 10 minutes, right? This is something that we have put a ton of effort into streamlining. You can also set it up yourself, admin, integration hub. You can actually go through and select all the settings yourself, or what I recommend, have our team set it up for you and then meet with your account manager and go in and customize and tweak the things that you want. right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be, if I were me, that's the path that I would be going down. So lots of options. This costs you nothing. If you don't know what version, or if you even have the Follow Up Boss Sisu integration in Sisu on the little chat box, you can just send our team a message. Hey, what Follow Up Boss version am I on? Hey, I want to connect Follow Up Boss. Can you help me with that? We'll get your API key, and our team can handle that for you full service.
Hey,
So
Zach,
oh, sorry.
All
Everybody who's using the Sisu follow-up integration is technically on this version. It's just whether or not you have opted into these new features. So just get in touch with someone in our chat bubble or your account manager, and they can help you set up these new features.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm a little hard-headed and stubborn sometimes. And a couple of years ago when we started with Sisu, I tried to develop our own way of doing things on how we were going to connect Follow Up Boss to Sisu. Don't do that. Trust the guys at Sisu, talk with Justin and his guys and tell them exactly what you have now and what you want it to look like, and let them figure it out for you. Don't try to change anything, because that was a big mistake on my part.
Yeah, it's tempting. And I think it may be out of necessity back then, Jeremy, where there weren't as many integration options as there are now, right?
Yeah.
But now we got this thing that's ready to go out of the box with plenty of customization. So that's great feedback, Jeremy. I appreciate you sharing that. I am going to pull up, I actually have a live environment of Follow Up Boss pulled up, connected to a live Sisu environment. And we're gonna show you what some of this looks like. So go share this window. I can't see the presenter anymore, so Kyla, Justin, Jeremy, if you're not seeing something, let me know. But
I got it.
And we got this guy, Justin Benson, is a lead here in our and we're going to show one of the main things. This is like, kind of are you seeing the Sisu circles now, Justin?
I am not. No.
We see your webinar screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this again.
I just see a video of you practicing your golf swing in a mirror is what I see.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Whoops. Sorry. Just show you guys how good I am at golf.
There we go. Got it.
All right, and I flip in between. You're seeing Sisu Follow Up Boss here?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So one of the things people think about when they start thinking about Sisu, or they start thinking about fundamentals, is the numbers, and how do I use the numbers to drive an efficient sales process? And that's what this is here in Sisu, right? So I'm looking at this. This is actually a new feature we have. It's cohort analysis that shows me. Imagine I'm looking at this for one agent, and I'm telling this agent, okay, you've had 51 conversations. The outer circle is your goal. The inner circle is where you're at. So I can see that you're a little behind pace on your conversations. Here's the percentage of those conversations that are turning into appointments, right? Here's the percentage of those set appointments that are being held all the way down to closed, right? So as a coaching tool, I know exactly what's going on in this agent's business, or with all of my agents, my entire team's business. I can filter this down by lead source. I can do all kinds of different things, but this is really the fundamentals of a real estate business, are these numbers and your conversion ratios of how many conversations does it take to set an appointment? How many appointments set to actually hold an appointment? How many listing appointments do I need to actually sign a listing, right? And going all the way down to closed. And what we're going to show you today is how you can drive this entire thing with your agents, and they never have to leave Follow Up Boss, right? And it's all just kind of built into the process that are in here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to log a call. And we have options here. I was just talking to Jeremy about this. Some of our teams want to count this, as long as you log the call, but don't hit no answer or left voicemail, they want that to count as a dial and a conversation. Some of our teams, and I think they have good reasons for this, say, no, I don't want that to be a possibility. For it to count as a conversation, you need to actually dial with your Follow Up Boss number, and that call needs to be greater than 2 minutes or 30 seconds or whatever time frame that you want to count as a conversation. You can customize that, right? But I just logged a conversation here. I'm at 51. I should go ahead and refresh. And you can see that conversation number moving from 51 to 52, right? And that happens instantly. From there, we're starting to track the seller appointment from or the list or the buyer appointment from appointment set all the way down to closed. How many appointments set does it take for me to get a closing? Those are the types of questions that we're trying to answer here. So all I need to do in Follow-Up Boss to log an appointment is just use the appointment setting here, right? So I can come in, and this is extremely beneficial because most agents have to put this on a Google Calendar or something anyways, right? So if you do this out of Follow-Up Boss, you're getting the benefit of 1, it's in Follow-Up Boss, 2, it's in Sisu, 3, it's on your calendar and on your client's calendar, and also it's in Follow-Up Boss. So really, really healthy process here. I'm going to go ahead and say this is a listing consultation. So the type is listing here. That's how we know that it's a listing. And I'm going to go ahead and create that appointment. And what this does back in Sisu, or actually what our integration will do is, whoops. Looks like I've maxed out this contact. We're going to create a new one. Jeremy, you're our new. I'm going to create a new lead here and run it real quick. So I'm going to set this appointment here. Kyla, if I'm missing anything, please.
Zach's gone on too many listing appointments at my house, so.
Yeah, sorry, Justin. It's because you had an open deal with us already, which is what's causing the issue. Okay, we have our new lead here. I went ahead and created that appointment. And what you can see is that it's automatically created the deal for me. So we get a lot of agents or a lot of teams that want to start tracking deals at appointment set. And there's a ton of good reasons for tracking deals at appointment set. It's just a really healthy thing to be doing. Well, we automate that entire thing for you. All you got to do is set the appointment, and I can see that this deal has been created for me. And then what you're also going to see is my seller appointment set is going to move up, right? So we're now at 4 seller appointments set. When I move this thing to appointment held, or you could do an appointment held form, and we'll talk about forms here in a sec, but I'm just going to go ahead and update this stage to appointment met. We're going to see Sisu reflect that over in the appointments met circle is going to go from 3 to 4 as well. Right. So Kyla, any questions in the chat that I should be addressing before I keep going here?
No, I'm trying to reply to them as people are asking. So far, just people wanting to like get in touch. Will the error be corrected for multiple buyer and seller deals? Yeah, so the reason that this integration, I mean, personally, of all the CRMs we integrate with, FUB is my favorite, specifically because of deals, because we can tie deals to Sisu Transactions specifically. So you can have as many seller deals, as many buyer deals between FUB and Sisu that you want. So it's, I think, one of the best reasons that I tell people to use FUB, or I suggest it.
Yeah, well, because there's a lot of power in, you've got a very open API with FUB, you've got a very open API with Sisu. So there's the ability to integrate is just phenomenal. This is the part of the process where we really start saving a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of duplicate data entry. So a lot of you on this call have started to use a really wise practice, which is intake forms when, for example, I sign a listing. And the logic behind that is, okay, when my agent, or as an agent, when I have a new listing, rather than just sending the contract to my listing manager, or rather than typing out an email and maybe I remember some of the information, but maybe I missed some of the other information, we're going to make it a one-stop shop where the only thing the agent has to do is click a button, fill out a form, and that makes the handoff from agent to the TC or to the ops team, right? Mm-hmm. So the way that, and this is something that's brand new, in this deal card, we've got those intake forms right here. These are completely customizable. This is part of the 2.0, is not only does this link show up, but you can select which forms show up, right? So a lot of people have links over in the custom field on the contact. We like links in the deal because it's a lot easier to manage people who have multiple deals going, or maybe you've got an investor that's buying multiple properties at once. So it's just a really structurally sound way to do it. But I'm going to click on one of these. So I'm an agent and I had this appointment and I'm now signing the listing, right? I've got a signed listing and I need to tell my ops team, hey, it's go time. Here's all the details, right? So notice how I come over. Now, a lot of you might have a Google form or a Wufoo form that does something similar to this. It's the same exact thing here. You can customize these fields. You'll notice that some of them are bold. That means they're required. That means if I try and hit submit and I don't have a required field, it's just going to prompt me to go ahead and add that field. But anything that was already in Follow Bus, I don't have to re-enter again. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and type in some details here. As if I were an agent filling this out. We're going to say that I signed the listing today. Photography is going to happen on Monday. The sign installation is going to go in on Monday as well. We are targeting to list this thing Wednesday of next week. Goes live on the MLS that Thursday. We're going to run an open house Saturday. And transaction amount, I mean, this is Jeremy we're talking about. So we're definitely like, what do you think, 1.2 million?
120,000. I'm in South Carolina.
We got the percentage of this helps us forecast income. What's our GCI percentage? I'm going to zoom in just a little. It might be hard to see. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my split as an agent, right? 50%, right? So I've completed the form. I'm going to go ahead and hit update. And a couple things happen from here, right? One of the things, and this all is kind of ready for you out of the box. We have all of these defaults ready to go for you, but the second we submit that intake form, it's kicking off a task list that says, you know, uploading the agreement. This is assigned to the agent, right? Who schedules photography? I'm building this whole thing out as well as sending notifications, right? Notifications look something like this. This is a different example, but hey, way to go on your new listing on 123 Main Street. Here's your task. Check out the client portal. We'll touch on the client portal, but I can customize this with merge fields. I can have this go to the agent. I can have it go to the client if I want to. There's a lot of different ways I can you know, finagle this email, but it's all automated. The other big thing that's happening is I'm going to go ahead and refresh, or actually I don't have to refresh. You can see that this deal, without me touching it, is now in that signed status, right? Along with data that was entered into Sisu moving back into FUB. And if I were to change something in FUB, it's going to push back into Sisu, right? So I'm never re-entering a piece of data twice. It's all just connected together and it's driving all of these processes, right? So as this moves all the way down the funnel to closed, I know every number I could ever want to know about my business, about this transaction, about our price points, about our days on market. And all my agents are doing is working out a follow-up boss and filling out the intake forms that they were probably filling out anyways. So,
Hey, Zach.
Go ahead, Kyla.
I had a question in here about like those custom fields. So I just do want to touch on a few of those for a minute. If you want to just go ahead and fill out the due diligence deadline or earnest money due date. Again, when Zach does this, it's going to populate over to Sisu. Make sure you click that little green. Yeah, there you go. And again, so you can do it on the FUB side, you can do it on the Sisu side, but the cool part here is that on the FUB side, so yeah, so dates go over, everything's connected.
Dang, that was fast. Like faster than even I expected, actually, being in integrations land over here. Way to freaking go.
If you pop back over to FUB,
yep.
And just close out the deal card and maybe duplicate your tab or just open that calendar in a new tab. Yeah, so if you go to the calendar in FUB and then on the left, see where it says filters right under the actual calendar, up a little bit right there, and then scroll down. So see where it says deal custom dates. So here, everything that we have put on your deal card will show up here. And so he can choose due diligence and earnest money. And now you're going to see on your calendar every single deal and its important dates showing up on your calendar. So this is something that a lot of people were asking, like, hey, I really want some of these key dates because, you know, people have been asking for this Sisu calendar, right? I want to see all the dates, and Sisu doesn't have a calendar yet. It's on our roadmap. But for those of you who use this integration and use Follow Up Boss, yeah, you can have these things show up, have them right here. It's going to show up in this view, and you can jump into the deal right from here. It'll take you to that contact record. Again, this was like a pretty big game changer for a couple of the teams I talked to recently, and they were like, oh my God, you're just like blowing my mind with this. So yes, so it does link to the Google Calendar. I don't know if when you show something in FUB, maybe someone else knows this. I wish Janelle was here, but I'm not exactly sure on what it has to be on that calendar, but I know if you have it linked, a lot of those things do.
Yeah. And in the past, it had to have a time associated with it, and it would link to the Google Calendar, but I don't know if they've maybe changed that. I also wanted to say that when we were in Austin earlier this week for the Follow Up Boss conference with Ylopo, they announced that Automations 2.0 for Follow Up Boss should be in place by the end of Q3, so sometime hopefully in September. I don't know exactly what those automations are going to be, but there's going to be a lot more options. And Justin may know more, but hopefully some of these key dates can trigger some automations inside of Follow Up Boss, which could be amazing as well.
Yeah, I actually do know a lot about that because I'm
Tell us
in
all,
all of
Justin.
those systems. I'm like the weird adopted FUB employee. Yeah, so like some of the stuff that you guys were hoping, like maybe deal stages, changing a contact stage as well, things like that. You're going to be able to sort a lot of that out with Automations 2.0. Even in the pipeline are things like triggering things out of custom fields and stuff that people have been asking for in FUB for a long time. So yeah, the granularity of being able to change things around like this is the reason why Automations 2.0 is in the works right now. And it's going to be stellar. Obviously, FUB never puts anything out that's not. So,
Justin, do you happen to know anybody that can turn it on for me now? You have to know somebody.
You don't want it turned on for you right now. So
Okay.
I'll tell you that it's coming along really great. It looks awesome. It's fantastic. But as you can imagine, migrating all of the old versions of the automations over to a new automation platform without ruining anybody's systems is quite an ordeal on FUB's side. So they're just double checking and triple checking and quadruple checking all of those systems to make sure the transition goes well.
Hey, Zach, can you open up the deal card one more time for me? One other thing I just want to say is, you know, like Justin mentioned in the beginning, like, you know, FUB isn't transaction management and FUB isn't forms. And we're not trying to necessarily make this a replacement, right? We're trying to make this a supplement. So we're not trying to have it so that you can like completely redo your entire Sisu form in here, but that you could easily link to your form and also show some of those really important key dates that you do want people to have quick access to. Again, the more fields that we choose to sync in here, the more complex the integration becomes. So it just gives more room for error, I guess I'll say. So we're trying to keep this custom deals field to the main set that we launched in the beginning, which was a set of like, you know, 6 or 7, plus maybe up to 10 more. And again, that's just kind of a general guideline to kind of keep things, you know, in a way that we feel is going to work the most efficiently for you guys. I saw some questions in here for what roles the calendar shows, you know, when those dates get added. And honestly, I'm not a FUB expert. I haven't played around too much with that. So I can try to play around with that later today. But I do think if you're a collaborator or an admin, at least as an admin, I can see all the stuff. I'll have to play around with the collaborator setting a little bit, or you can, I'm sure, ask your FUB representative.
Well, one other thing too, Kyla, because I talk to a lot of TCs, a lot of directors of ops who they're on the hook for data integrity, data quality, making sure that all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. And so another like super important feature that's in this integration is what we call a deal lock or deal locking, right? And essentially what that means is you can set up criteria where, hey, once something is under contract in Sisu, it can only be updated in Sisu, and you can even lock it down to where only a TC can update it, and we're just going to feed updates back into FUB, right? And even if one of your agents accidentally moved a deal somewhere where it's not supposed to, or did anything like that, our integration is going to block that, and we're going to say no. At past the deal lock, transaction updates have to happen in Sisu, and not in the follow up boss deal, right? So that's an option there. Now, some people want that, some people don't, but especially you get bigger and bigger, at Jeremy at your size, like if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong, right? And so this helps
And
you address that.
Yeah, and just to add on to that again, you still can move it back. So like say something's pending, but it falls through and you want to put it back to MLS Live. As long as you do that on the Sisu side, it's going to update the FUB deal and it'll put it back, and then still updates in FUB would then be allowed again to be updated over. But like Zach's saying, as soon as that Sisu side goes into pending, signed or pending, depending on what you choose in your setup, it will just see that it's in that status, and it will reject the change, and it will push back what is in Sisu. So for like a split second, if he changed the price to like 2 million, it would look like 2 million for like a second, and then it would say psych, it's 12, $1 million too, because that's what Sisu says, and we're supposed to be keeping things in line with Sisu. So it's, again, that's another feature that people really like about the integration.
Yeah. Okay, so probably a few more questions. We're gonna try and save some time for Q&A. I did want to hit on a couple things, and then we have like a special offer that we want to do on this webinar for people who are not on Sisu yet. So I'm going to share that real quick, and then we're going to do a little Q&A, and Jeremy and Justin, I really want to dig into some of the things that you guys are using this for. I think that would be really valuable for everyone. So let me just hit on this. So this is our webinar promo. We're only doing it for this webinar. What you get is our best package, which is we have two packages. We have Essentials and Premier. You're getting our best package, Premier, at the price of our most cost-effective package, which is Essentials. That's about a 20% discount for the life of your account. What you're actually getting in that is we have a full recruiting and onboarding platform. That's for agent onboarding, agent recruiting. You're getting a dedicated one-to-one account manager. You're getting the client portal, which we haven't even talked on, but the client portal is like that Domino's pizza tracker experience. It takes almost no setup on your part. You get custom branding, tons of other features, and all you got to do to get this offer is just sign up and show up for a demo if you haven't already. Talk to the Sisu team. They will do a free trial for you. During that free trial, we will connect Follow Up Boss for you, and you can decide from there if it makes sense to move forward. So you go sisu.co/FUB, or you can use the little QR code there. If you're not a Sisu customer already, we'd love to have the shot to earn your business, and we want to make this as easy as possible for you to streamline your business. Couple of the things I'm gonna buzz through these, and then we're gonna talk to Jeremy a little bit more. But that process is obviously a streamlined process where I'm saving a ton of time. What are some of the benefits that I get from running my business this way? This is one of them, right? I walk into my office, I've got 4 big flat, we call this the Great Wall of Sisu. This is one of our clients that you walk into their office and you see exactly like what contests are going on, who's on top of the leaderboard. It creates a really fun sales environment. We obviously talked about all the conversion tracking and the goal setting and the conversion ratios. That's right there ready to go for you. This is a brand new CEO dashboard that we just released. It's really sweet. It shows like the thing I like, net profit month over month. I can just see it and track it here. This came from, it was highly requested by a lot of clients, but actually Chris Nevada's team specifically help them. And
I
I
mean, the
think
one
you
that
tried to
we,
build something out for them, right, Justin?
yeah, we like built the prototype for it, like custom for them. And we were like, well, this is probably something that all of the Sisu users probably want. So let's just turn this over to Sisu to add into their products.
We appreciate it because people have been loving this thing. And here's the thing is like my admin, or if I'm a team owner, my admin doesn't have to go into a closet for 3 days to build these types of reports for me. They're 24/7 at my fingertips on my phone. Right? I know exactly where we're at profitability wise. This is lead source ROI, how many leads were distributed, set, met, signed, all the way down to closed. What's our ROI? What's our cost per lead, cost per closing? That's in there out of the box. This is the client portal. You take the data that's already in Sisu. We give a window into it to your client so they know what's going on, because when they buy from Amazon, they're expecting to know exactly where their package is, right? But for some reason, when they buy a home, they have to call their agent to know what's going on, right? People who transact this way, clients who use a portal like this, and then they go use someone else who's not providing that portal, they're going to have a very bad experience because the bar has been raised for them. So I think this is really going to catch on where clients expect some type of portal to know what's going on in the transaction. We have that included. I'm going to shut up now. I got way too much to talk about.
I'll also say for all the ops people that are in here as well, like if you're getting blown up by your team leader constantly, like saying, what are the numbers? What are this? What are that? And you are having to manually create spreadsheets over and over and over again to get them those numbers, you know, those reports right there is what saves you an incredible amount of time, you know? So we hear that over and over and over again, like our high level ops people going like, man, I'm just sick of like having to make this report at 11 o'clock at night when my team leader's laying awake worrying whether or not next month's going to go okay, you know? So it's at everybody's fingertips at all times.
Totally agree. So Jeremy, let's talk about some okay, so when you run your business through Sisu, the data's in there. You've got the dashboards. Like, what are some of the things that you're doing? How do you use the data? What are some of the like actual applications that have been applicable for you?
Yeah, there's a ton. I would say, well, first of all, I'm going to start reading my Sisu emails that I get because I didn't know anything about the CEO dashboard. So I'm going to check that out as soon as I get off of this.
It's an exclusive list, Jeremy. I might need to go add you to our special CEO.
Yeah. That'd be great. So, well, first of all, just the snapshot and the dashboard, like all of the leaders in our team are in those every day, all day, just seeing where we're at, you know, what we're doing. We've got in the snapshot report, we've got 6 certain things that we look at. All of our teams are set up the same way. So, I mean, we live in that all day, every day. But some of the best things for us as a team that we utilize the most are the commission splits. That's a big deal for us because we are with a national brokerage that has splits and royalties and caps and all that kind of stuff. So that keeps us super organized and makes it extremely easy for us. Another thing we started doing recently is use the recruiting and onboarding section of Sisu very heavily. We've changed into what we call a tier system for agents. So we have tier 1 through 4. But then even before they get hired to our team, you know, we've got 5 locations. So it's hard to figure out who's got who coming to the next training class or who's in the pipeline. So now we use the transaction stages board on the recruiting side of things to keep track of who all is in the pipeline, who's coming to the next training, which tier they are. So, and then as you move them through the transaction stages board, it triggers a checklist for my admin team to do some of the offboarding and stuff that takes place as they move through the tier. So that's been incredibly helpful for us. A lot of the reports we use on a monthly basis, you know, just to kind of track where we're at. So, and the goal setting is another thing at the beginning of every year or the end of every year. Each one of our agents does the goal setting, and we figure out what they want to make, and we back into the number all the way into the conversations. I can keep talking. Another thing that's really been beneficial is, you know, we can see the conversions between each stage of the sales process. And now we've got the accountability where we can see kind of where each agent is at and like who's lagging behind in the appointment set to appointment met. And you can really drill down because it's different skills, of course, with each different phase. Like, they're lagging behind in the set to met. So are they not building enough rapport over the phone? Why are they getting ghosted? And you can do that as different with each part of the sales funnel. So there's so much good to talk about.
There's a ratio. I love that you talked about the ratios, but there's one that's becoming super important, and it used to just kind of be thrown out the window, but it's the ratio of buyer appointments met to buyer broker agreements signed, right? Obviously, this is becoming a huge push with the way the industry is changing. And you're spot on, Jeremy. It's a skill thing, right? So one, you got to know, well, how well are we converting there? Two, what's our plan to help our agents grow that skill? And then three, how do we measure and watch that number goes up, right? And I've seen a lot of teams that are running contests around that. They're gamifying it. They're practicing it, script and role play. They're revising their scripts. Like, much better to do this now than maybe in 2 months when now you're forced to make some of these adjustments. So
my favorite thing about that is plugging that huge hole in the middle of the funnel. What you're talking about is like middle funnel stuff. You don't have to go get more leads. Actually, you have them all there. They're literally, it's just money sitting in the middle of your funnel, and Sisu gives you the visibility to go, oh geez, I got a big problem right there. There's like hundreds of thousands of dollars in closings just sitting right there in the middle of the funnel. So we should probably focus in as an organization on that.
It's kind of bad too, because before you just didn't know, so it wasn't bad news. I mean,
yeah, Jeremy's solution before was like, I don't know, just take more leads, work harder, man.
That's right. All is good.
I got a question here from Katie. Is Sisu able to manage commissions and back office accounting for brokerage? Currently using Broker Sumo. I'm curious if Sisu could replace that. Jeremy, I mean, that's essentially what you guys do, right?
We do. We'll do probably 1,500 transactions this year. We've got all the caps and splits and percentages and referral sources, and we do 100% of it right through Sisu.
Yeah, even cap resets, which is a complicated thing, right? Because everybody's caps don't reset at the same time. So,
and you got the templates in Sisu, so you do it one time, and then you save it as one of the commission templates, and then my offshore team handles every commission DA that we have, so they're doing it all. They created the templates at the beginning, and then they just change it.
Zach, if somebody wants a demo or wants to meet up with our team to see what that would be like, can you let me know? I'll answer this question with where they can do that.
Yeah, actually just sisu.co/FUB. If you sign up for a demo, whoops, I got to add the 1 sec, I'm putting it in the chat. Okay, so that link that I just dropped, it's sisu.co/FUB. It's going to take you to a page where you can put in your information, select a time to meet with one of our reps. They'll know that you're coming from this meeting, right? Or they'll know that you're coming from this webinar. So you'll be able to get that webinar promo. We've got our account management team. You won't have to touch the Follow Up Boss integration, just provide an API key. And then from there, it's really, rather than you building the Sisu car from scratch, right? The car is there, it's ready for you to drive. And maybe you want to tweak, and I don't know, maybe you're like Justin, you want to put like a straight pipe exhaust on it and a little spoiler or something, and a tune on it, right? You can do all of that, but the car's ready to freaking drive, right? So anyways, Jeremy, thank you for sharing. Justin, I wanted to make sure I gave you a sec because you also see the entire industry. Like, what are some of the coolest or the biggest benefits you're seeing people get out of these two systems together?
I mean, honestly, really diving into the gamification of things. One of the hard things to do with gamification is getting all the data into one place, right? It's hard to do that. But the fact that people are running transaction management and all of the activities from FUB are coming over into Sisu actually does allow you to run contests and gamify the things that you want to go after as a team. We're seeing people like, okay, great. Maybe transaction count's going to be down for a little bit. Agents are going to be a little bit more time on their hands. So we're going to have a contest on who can get the most reviews on Yelp or Google or whatever that looks like, right? And then you can incentivize those points and give away prizes at the end of that week or 2 weeks or month or however long you're going to run that contest for. Having that live up in an office is so powerful. Even just like a who's closing the most, like whose conversion rates are the best. Having those reports up live in an office, the psychological effect of that on a team is incredible, because if you're number 2 or 3 on that list, you walk into the office and go, man, you're probably going to make a few extra calls today, actually. Like, just cycle up, because that thing is staring you right in the face, and you do want to be number 1 at the end of the day, right? So,
or you don't want to be on the bottom, right?
Yeah, exactly. What gets measured grows, and that is true of everything, right? So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is the actual knowledge. I mean, I see people make decisions about their business with just zero visibility into their business in the first place. Like, oh man, maybe I should stop paying for this lead source. Well, do you actually know if you're closing a lot of that leads? What are you basing that decision off of?
It's like playing blackjack with both of your cards down.
Yeah, exactly. It's just guessing at the end of the day. And the cool thing with Sisu is that you don't have to guess that. You can get as granular down to what your actual net profit was on that Zillow Flex lead or whatever the heck was after your agent team splits and your brokerage payouts and everything, to actually see what the bottom line is on all of your lead sources, and then compare all of your conversion rates. And then at that point, you have the data in front of you to go, you know what, we are doing killer at Google local service leads. We need to pour a lot of money into that bucket right now is what we need to do. And the funny thing about lead sources is that it shifts around constantly. So one lead source will perform really well for a little bit and it'll die off, and another one will rise to the top, and you have to have the data in front of you to actually know that, or you're just guessing, you're just blindly flying the plane. And that kind of data informed decisions is how the best companies in the world work. And the best teams that we work with, like Jeremy and other people that we've mentioned, they make decisions based on that data. They don't just guess at things. So
love it. Well, we are up on time. Wish we had more time. I could go another 3 hours, and we do need to spin the wheel one more time, of course. And let's see. Who asked the question about the commissions? I like that question. Katie Brown, you were spinning the wheel. Let me share this thing. And you all get to hear this wonderful music once again, which I know is what's on everyone's mind.
Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, you get the silent basketball. It's actually really cool. Like a foam basketball, and it bounces like a real basketball. A friend of mine got it to give it to someone else, and then his family was like, no, actually don't give that thing away. It's sick. We want to keep it. So congratulations, Katie. I know you're probably just over the moon. We'll send you an email, get you your silent basketball. Thank you everyone for joining. Jeremy, Justin, especially, really appreciate both of you making the time. And we'll send the recording out. If you are not on Sisu and you want to talk to Sisu, sisu.co/FUB. If you are on Sisu and you need help, success@sisu.co. Send an email that goes to our chat team. We have 1 to 2 minute response times during business hours. You will get a very quick response there. Send that message to success@sisu.co. Thanks, everyone. Thanks again, Jeremy, Justin.
Thanks, guys.
Tyler. We'll talk to y'all later.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.